As the clouds of war gather over the entire Middle Eastern region, PM Narendra Modi is set to embark on a two-day visit to Israel beginning the 25th of February in what leaders on both sides are describing as a historic milestone in bilateral relations. The visit marks a significant diplomatic moment as Modi will become the first Indian Prime Minister to address the Knesset, underscoring the strategic depth that Bharat and Israel ties have acquired over the last decade. And beyond the symbolism, the trip comes at a time of deepening defense and technological convergence between New Delhi and Jerusalem. Bharat and Israel have steadily expanded cooperation in areas such as missile defense systems, unmanned aerial vehicles, cybersecurity, border surveillance technologies, and precision-guided munitions. Israel is already among Bharat's top defense suppliers, and collaboration spans joint research, technology transfer, and co-development under Bharat's defense modernization push. A key focus during this visit is expected to be advanced air and missile defense cooperation, and with rising regional volatility, the growing use of drones, rockets, and standoff weapons in modern warfare, Bharat is likely to explore expanded access to Israel's Iron Dome air defense system, renowned for intercepting short-range rockets and aerial threats. And for Bharat, such capabilities could significantly enhance layered defense architecture, particularly in sensitive border regions and high-value urban or strategic installations. Now, additionally, discussions may include advanced precision missile systems such as Israel's long-range standoff munitions, including Icebreaker missile, designed for high-accuracy strikes against heavily defended targets. Icebreaker-class systems align with Bharat's evolving doctrine that emphasizes precision deterrence and rapid response capabilities. Such acquisitions would complement existing Indo-Israeli joint ventures in missile development and also could strengthen Bharat's indigenous defense production ecosystem through technology partnerships. Now, Modi's itinerary includes visits to Jerusalem's innovation ecosystem, reflecting the growing synergy between Bharat's startup sector and Israel's globally recognized technology industry, as well as Yad Vashem. As to Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Memorial, the latter visit carries deep symbolic resonance, reinforcing Bharat's long-standing respect for Jewish history and its broader civilizational diplomacy. Now, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has framed the visit as a testament to robust strategic partnership between the two nations, spanning defense, water, technology, agriculture, cybersecurity, and innovation. Sanjay Suri now joins us with more, even as there are clouds of war brewing in that region. He has talked about a Hexagon Alliance. Sanjay, what's the mood in Israel ahead of the Prime Minister's visit?
Well, on both fronts, it's rather strong. As relations with India go, I mean, India is quite a favorite country here. People quite love India more than they really relate to other nations. And there is a great deal of warmth that you hear from people on the street when they speak about India, and particularly now looking forward to the Prime Minister's visit. They do believe that this is going to be a point that will accelerate the relations between the two countries further, and they're quite looking forward to that. And on the other front, well, you were talking about the war clouds. Certainly that is something that Israel has to face up to, and Israel has had a taste of that, and that has not been entirely happy because the Iron Dome didn't quite work 100% in the June war of last year. About 50 Iranian missiles got through, and now, of course, Israel has strengthened its defense hugely since then. On the other hand, Iran has strengthened its missiles, so what eventually transpires, nobody can guess. But there is an air of determination about, rather than any apprehension or fear.
Whereabouts are you? Have those areas which were affected, there was one that landed very close to the Mossad headquarters, have they all been repaired? The Israelis, are they looking at war looming around, or are they just going about business as usual, war or no war?
Well, I'm here in Tel Aviv, and Tel Aviv did take some hits in the war last year, and there was damage to a number of buildings. And consider that, in the attacks from the missile attacks from Iran, 28 Israelis were killed, hundreds were injured. It's more than $3 billion worth of damage caused. So that is not a threat to be taken lightly. Certainly the defense capabilities of Iran cannot match those of Israel, but it cannot be dismissed as a zero threat either. There is an air of apprehension, and there's certainly determination that this time they will counter it. We've had strong language from Netanyahu, we've had very strong language from the Iranians, and needless to say, from Donald Trump. So this is as far as rhetoric goes. The reality is certainly going to be quite different, and we'll have to see what transpires. One thing is very clear here in Israel, that between war and peace, they would choose war now. If peace means that this build-up that Trump has, posted right around the region
Right.
were to be stopped, and if these ships were to sail back, that would feel like a betrayal in Israel.
True, and Israelis want it, Arya Par. That's what we say in Hindi, that this time they're quite sold on that. You just have a bike roaming right where you're standing, so they clearly seem to be in very strong spirits on the streets there. Sanjay, thank you. Always a pleasure speaking with you. Let's hope you have a memorable one with the Prime Minister's visit, and also whether or not you have to stay back because the war clouds loom. Ambassador Deepak Ora with us, and we also have Balik Saladin joining us. Namaste. Thank you for your time. Balik Saladin, if I may ask you, how do you see the Prime Minister's visit? What is Israel's expectation this time around from PM Narendra Modi?
Yes, well, Israelis are actually looking forward for this visit. There hasn't been many heads of state that visited Israel during the past 2 years, also because of war, but also because of the Israel stance in the world. And Israel sees this visit as a new strategic partnership that is now shaping outside of the West, because in Israel, many consider what the West has done. Western countries, Europe in particular, has quote unquote turned their back on Israel during the Gaza war, and even the Democratic administration in the White House. We're talking here, of course, about the Biden administration. So now Israel is expanding its strategic partnership and is looking forward for this new country in the south of Asia, where it's the populous country in the world, and also the fourth biggest economy in the world, as we see right now, a growing economy, of course. So on one hand, we're going to see a memorandum of understanding on economical issues. You've touched on that, cybersecurity, AI technology. Many of the Israeli startups are looking forward to scale their selling to India, and of course cooperations with Indian companies, but also the military industry in Israel. We know that India is anyway one of the biggest buyers of Israeli military industry weapons and ammunition. They want to expand that. Even an Israeli media has already said that Israel will actually expand India's access to many of the military technologies in Israel, meaning that this will open a new phase of cooperation between the two. So these are mostly the things that Israelis are looking for from this visit.
So a lot of money, a lot of expenditure, a lot of business, Ambassador Deepak Ora. But are the equations built on trust, or is it largely on trade? There have been complaints how Indians have been treated in Israel. Would you agree, subscribe to that? And also whether Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who's advocated peace, will find resonance if he speaks about that in the Knesset, where the Israelis largely want a solution and Iran, this Khamenei regime, to be ended, so that the Israelis can feel safer.
So, all right. Well, thank you very much. Give me a minute, sir.
Ji.
First of all, thank you. And I've just heard our colleague talk about what's happening in Israel, what they expect. Defense is one aspect of our relationship, albeit the most important. Don't forget, sir, drip irrigation came to India in a big way in the 1990s from Israel. And that increased our crop output, doubled it, and halved the amount of water that was required for growing our crops. That's been a major thing. Then, of course, we've talked of nuclear medicine. We have cooperation in space technology and a number of other things. By the way, at the AI summits, I'm sure you went there in the nation's capital recently. Israel was not officially there, but Israel was everywhere. So I went, sir. It was everywhere, everywhere, everywhere.
Yeah.
So they are really, as far as they are concerned, they trust us. This is the overwhelming impression I get after many visits, that they know that we will not cheat. We're not going to share whatever they give us with other countries. Second, sir, 50 years ago, someone I knew well and I admired, Johanna Spector. She was an ethnomusicologist, a Jewish woman, survived the Holocaust. She died many years ago. And she had produced a film, The Jews of India, in which she said, in the history of world Jewry, and sir, I repeat this slowly, so millions of people who watch your show can listen to this. In the history of world Jewry, one country that never persecuted us is India. And this survives in the collective memory of the Jews. Sir, I plead guilty to the fact, well, I mean, by way of full disclosure, we have a Jewish son-in-law in the family, in my extended family. Absolutely superb young man, sir. So may I just say that, the fact that the Prime Minister is going there, what his second visit, he was the first Prime Minister to go there ever. Now he's going
Right.
after 9 years. The fact that we are going there at this crucial moment when everybody is not, nobody is going to that, "Arey, kya ho jayega, kya ho jayega?" Nothing is going to happen. He's going to tell the Israelis, you stood by us, we've come here to stand by you. That is Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and that is Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu, sir. Both
Right.
of them are amazing human beings. And I think this visit will be an eye-opener for those who think that it's always self-interest. No, in the case of India and Israel, it's also not just self-interest, but it's other interest, the other's
Right.
interest that is at work, sir.
Right. So we'll be following this coverage and extensively and very, very closely in collaboration with our Israeli friends, and that's rest assured for our viewers. But there'll be those who'll be watching even in Tehran, what's being said in Tel Aviv and in Jerusalem. I thank you to our guests. I have to wind up. I've run out of time, but thank you for watching this edition of Right Stand. Namaste.